I stopped to fix a flat for a scared teen. I said, sit tight, I've got you. Then I looked in the back seat, and saw the woman who would decide my future. Part 2. Safer on the curb, I said, getting the tone right without barking. We're almost done. Adam, this is my grandmother, Lily said. I'm sorry. He was supposed to come. He got called. I said I could do it. I promised I could do it, grandmother. The backseat occupant sat with her feet on the road, like she belonged in any place she chose. Then she leaned forward so the light found her face better, and the shape behind memory clicked into place. I had seen this woman's picture maybe a dozen times on the city's website, and in the paper whenever a new regulation made vendors ignite like dry brush. Mrs. Keene. It came out before I could press it down. Her eyebrows lifted a question. I stopped. You don't introduce yourself to a board chair on the side of the road like you're at a reception. You put the air in the tire, and you put air in the kid's lungs by being unruffled. We'll be moving in 2 minutes. She nodded like she approved of that answer more than anything else I might have said. Her hands settled on the top of the seat. Her fingers were calm, I thought. About the file folder on my kitchen table and the way my father's initials felt in my palm. Tell me your last name, she said after a moment. Not a demand, a note. Daniels, I said before I could lie. Adam. Thank you, Mr. Daniels, she said, and returned to the back seat. I could feel Lily's breath shorten, and then even out like she'd learned she didn't have to hold it. The compressor's hum changed pitch. The sound that says a tire is remembering itself. I checked twice, once for me and once. Because maybe I would stand in front of this woman in 8 days, and I wanted to be the man who checks twice. Okay, I said, lowering the jack. We're going to go slow to the next exit. There's a fuel station with better light. Don't drive on the shoulder, loose rock will make us both cry. I'll follow you. You don't have to, Lily said. Young people apologize like it's their birthright. I want to, I said. You're going to do fine. She swallowed, nodded, and slid behind the wheel like she was stepping back into a day she didn't want to break. Grandmother met my eyes through the glass. She didn't wink. She didn't nod. She just looked like a woman who sees something, writes it down in the part of her that matters, and waits to see if it matches later. At the station, I checked pressure, tightened the lug nuts for good measure, because a man can't resist that extra hand on the world, and gave Lily a card with my number, written on the back in red electrical tape, because the pen I had in my pocket was a pencil's idea of a joke. The card was a piece of receipt paper folded over, my name, and the words roadside service, testing my luck. How much? Lily asked, digging for a purse that was a tangle of receipt ghosts and pens that had died honorable deaths. No charge, I said. This is the kind of answer you know will make you explain yourself to your own stomach later. Sleep good, Mrs. Keene had paid me the only thing in her pocket. Attention, she put her hand on Lily's shoulder. Thank you again, she said. Get home safe. It was good to meet you, I said, and meant every word, both for the girl and for the woman who had made the room at City Hall feel like a moon I needed permission to walk on. We drove away in different directions. I carried home the smell of rubber, and a feeling in my chest like an instrument that had been tuned slightly better than it was before. At my kitchen table, I put my father's wrench on my file folder, and wrote one sentence on the back of the receipt paper I was trying to pretend was a business card. Fix the small thing you can reach. Then I slept and dreamed about a room with humming lights and a long table. And how sometimes a person doesn't have to say anything at all to tell you exactly what they're made of. There is a way fluorescent lights do a number on a man's nerves that I don't think is entirely accidental. They hum like a thought you can't finish. The licensing and small enterprise board meets in a room that looks like someone took the idea of a courtroom and asked it to be polite. Long table, name placards, a picture of water that tastes like the cup remembers another life, and a row of chairs that makes applicants sit on their hands so they don't wring them. I arrived early, because that's how you tell your own chest you're trying. My suit is the kind that doesn't need a brand, just clean and honest and a little too warm in the armpits if you walk too fast. I had my folder, I had the file with insurance, plan, route map, a simple website printout that says who I am and what I refuse to do, tow jobs, anything on a blind curve. Anything that asks a man to juggle too much danger, just to meet someone else's schedule. I had a picture in the back pocket of the wrench. When they called my name, I walked to the table and set my folder down. People were already seated, 2 board members with pens poised like they could triangulate a life with ink. A clerk whose eyes were kind, because someone in a room always should be. And at the end exactly where she sits when the room needs to decide whether a day opens or closes was Mrs. Keene. She looked different, without road and night pressing on her. Not softer exactly, just like the light knew where to land. Her hair was the same. Her eyes did not pretend to not know me. She nodded once, a public way of saying private things. I see you. We will do this in order. Be the man you were, Mr. Daniels, said the chair to her left, a man with a tie that needed to calm down. Present your proposal. I don't love talking about myself. I love speaking about work. There's a difference. Work is a story you can carry on your back. I opened the folder. My hand found the edge of the wrench's picture. I didn't pull it out. I just remembered the weight. I'm applying for a mobile roadside service permit, I said, and let my voice be the tool it is instead of a performance. Punctures, inflations, valve replacements, I'll operate within these zones. No highways, no bridges, no blind curves. I carry cones, lights, a compressor, and a plan. I've included my safety procedures, insurance, and a code of conduct. No cash-only sales, no unsolicited approach, no social media while on scene. A smile flicked across the clerk's face at the last one. The tie adjusted itself and spoke. We've had issues with, shall we say, overly enthusiastic vendors. I'm not enthusiastic, I'm available. There was a small ripple of sound. The board chair cleared his throat. Insurance is adequate, he said. Who trained you? My father trained me first, I said. Every man in my family has passed something down by hand. Then I learned in shops. 3 different places. Each one taught me a skill and a story. I have letters. I've included them. And if the person calling you is a teenager, someone asked from the back row. I hadn't noticed until my body went a little icy. Representatives from the grant program sitting quietly like shadows that remember budgets. I talk to them like adults who haven't had enough practice, I said. I tell them what I'm doing and why. I make them safe first and informed second. Scared people want to be told that the world is going to be ordinary again. My job is to make that true. There's a rhythm to these rooms. You can feel when interest leans. You can sense the way a question is meant to pull you to your feet, and check if you can steady yourself without putting your hand on the table. What about competition? The tie asked. We don't want to undercut existing businesses. I don't want to undercut anyone either, I said. I don't fix what needs a lift and a bay. I don't do things on the side of the road that belong inside. If I arrive and it's beyond me, I call a tow. Then wait until the human walks out of a truck that knows what it's for. People think independence is a brand. It's not. It's a responsibility, Mrs. Keene had not said a word. She didn't have to. This is the part of the process where a man convinces a room he's not a story they'll regret later. Then, when the moment arrived where the board asks for public comment, she lifted one finger. No one in the world needed more of an introduction than that gesture. Last week, my granddaughter and I had a flat off East Crescent. A gentleman pulled behind us, set cones, and made that small emergency smaller. He did not tell me his name at the time. He did not take my money. He checked twice. He used his body the way a person should in a dark road. He made a plan simple enough for a scared girl to understand. He followed to the next exit. She did not say it was me. She did not look for thanks. She set the facts on the table like tools and stood back. Is that a conflict? The tie asked quickly. A little too quickly, because men like him are afraid of the wrong line in the wrong paragraph. It's context, the clerk said softly. The chair turned to her. She had the kind of voice that makes rooms less foolish. Our criteria include safety and community benefit. And that was a statement to that effect. Mr. Daniels, please step out while we consider. I walked to a bench that made my knees far too aware of their own existence. I wasn't sick, I wasn't steady. Either. You wait outside rooms like this the way you wait outside hospital doors. You were the same man either way. The world decides which version it greets. When they called me back, the tie had the look of someone who had been overruled by something as annoyingly practical as principle. The chair folded his hands. The clerk smiled without blessing. Mr. Daniels, said the chair. Permit approved with conditions. Your zones as submitted. Quarterly safety reports for the first year. Any deviations require prior notice, and pending approval from the Community Foundation. We would like to discuss a small pilot with the Youth Employment Program. Basic roadside safety workshops, delivered with the Foundation as partner. He paused.